Suzanne sends in a question. My husband and I seem to be drifting apart. I'm not sure if we love each other anymore.
Cool.
Oh, how often I hear this.
Is that in your wheelhouse
It's
or
in
what?
my wheelhouse. So often I will get a call from a husband or a wife with that kind of, moaning and a feeling of despair, and is it even worth working on, and we've been together so long I don't even know who they are anymore. It often happens, by the way, when there's an empty nest, when the couple has been busy raising their children and forgot to pay attention to each other. Then all of a sudden, when they have the empty nest, the kids are all gone, they look at each other and they say, who the hell are you? Right? And who am I? And who have I become? And who are we? And so very often the challenge is how to reconnect. And so the one of the clues of the question is we've drifted apart. So it tells me they haven't been paying attention. So they're drifting apart. So they lost sight, literally, have lost sight. They're so far apart, they can't even see each other. So the work I do is to remind them, first of all, how and why they got together in the first place. So they have a reference point. And then I have them entertain the possibility that they could actually reinvent their relationship as they get to know one another now. Because who they are now, after 20, 25 years or 30 years of marriage, they're not the same person they were when they met. And so for them to engage in an adventure of discovery with one another and learn how to talk to one another and how to listen to one another. How does love happen in the first place? I often say, love is all there is. And the only thing is that we have things that distract us from love. So there's love over here, there's fear over here. This is the two polarities of life, right? So to me, everything that's natural in life is love. Love is the creative life force. Love is what will drive this woman who isn't motivated to do her working out. She will be driven to do that by love of herself and love of a cause, right? So she even gets out of herself in that motivation. Likewise, what brings all of us together with one another is wanting to experience ourselves sometimes in the eyes of the other. Well, if you've drifted apart, you don't even see yourself in the eyes of the other. So the goal is to help them to see one another differently with fresh eyes. One of my favorite philosophers, if you will, Marcel Proust, said that the fountain of youth is to be found not in distant lands, but the fountain of youth is to be found in seeing yourself and the world through fresh eyes, through new eyes. And that's how we renew ourselves. We renew ourselves in a relationship. We renew ourselves in our lives in terms of our endeavors. And what love is all about is being willing to be everything we are. What very often happens with couples, they shut down. There's breakdowns in communication over the years. And so they, little by little, keep shutting the doors, shutting the door to that portal over here, shutting the door to that window or that room over there. And before you know it, everything's shut down and closed. And then they wonder, what happened? So can they find love with each other again? Absolutely. Will it take some work? Will it take some introspection? Will it take some digging deep? Yes, but does it have to be painful? No, it actually could be exciting. And what I've discovered is very often, I like to tell the story as I did in my presentation. I give the story of Toby and Len, who had drifted apart after 44 years of marriage, and she wanted to divorce the SOB. Right? Well, they had drifted apart. They forgot how to pay attention to one another, and there were some things getting in the way. But when I taught them how to reconnect, they actually discovered and rediscovered some of the things that they had loved about each other in the first place, and other things that they didn't even know about each other because they lost sight of it. And so they reconnected, reinvented, rediscovered themselves individually and themselves together. And then when they celebrated their next anniversary, they did so with a sense of gusto. And quite frankly, Toby shared with me that their sex life, although they're now in their late 60s and early 70s, is in many ways better than ever. And I say that because it's not about performance, but it is about connection. And so what your sex life can be in the later years of life, when maybe not everything's working the way it used to, doesn't matter, because some things might be working better, like an open heart, like an open mind, like your capacity to be soft, like the man finally discovering his feminine side and the woman appreciating him and he appreciating her, so that their together time, the cuddling time, the stroking time, if you will, is sweeter than ever. And sex too. You know, there are many ways to, as they say, well, there are many ways to enjoy yourself. So I'm just saying, you know, can you fall in love again? Absolutely, because it also involves falling in love with yourself. So very often with your significant relationship, if you have drifted apart and you've lost sight of your relationship, you've also lost sight of something about yourself. So, you know, when you can rediscover yourself, fall in love with yourself, and feel good about you, then you can feel good about your partner. So the answer is yes, it's possible.
Wow.
That was great.
It's a good thing we're recording this one.
And by the way, I want to jump in. I wanted to jump in before, because a lot of us relationship coaches and marriage counselors and relationship therapists in the field are jumping on a very important bandwagon, and that is to ask the couple, what are you eating? What is your nutrition?
Oh.
How are you fueling your body? How are you, by default, cutting short your capacity to be patient, to be loving? One of the most important and famous relationship coaches and therapists in the world is John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. He actually requires the couples that he works with to engage in a nutritional program before he begins working with them, because he has seen and learned through the years how important their boosting their immune system has a direct effect on their emotional immune system.
That's powerful.